Welcome to the Sacred Legacy podcast. I'm Anthony Richey.
And I'm Kate Brown, and we are elevating stories of God's hand in ordinary lives.
What's up, Kate?
Hey, how's it going?
It's been going pretty good. We survived Snowmageddon 2026 here.
Yeah, how was your weekend with that?
It was busy, but all the animals were well fed and watered and had blankets, and so everybody was happy. So glad that's sort of behind us. We still have snow on the ground, but
it's still pretty cold out.
Yes,
but we've had a lot of fires, which I've enjoyed.
Yeah,
we kind of hibernated and cooked a lot of hearty meals all weekend, and it was good family time. But we were ready for the kids to go back to school. You know, they were off for 2 days and went back yesterday.
Yeah, we had all this melting and then refreezing. I almost died this morning walking into work. I had my hands full, had coffee, and I mean, just slipped and somehow caught it. Did not spill the coffee.
Good save.
It was pure luck, but I sure was grateful that I didn't end up on my rear end, bust my head or something. So
no joke. I almost hit a deer in town today.
Hey.
It's like, why are you in here? Like, stick to the country, fella.
That's funny.
Anyway.
Yeah, so it's been a wild few days with the weather and the cold, and I know a lot of people have been affected by ice and power outages, not necessarily in our area, but all over. So say a prayer for those people. Those are hard times, and I know that the crews are working to get everybody back up and running, but it's difficult. So
yeah, especially when you're not used to it, like in the the warmer states. We don't get a lot of ice in winter weather, and when we do, we're not really well equipped for it.
Right. They did a good job here keeping the roads plowed, and fortunately it was a dry snow, so we were fortunate.
Yeah.
So, well,
okay,
we've got kind of a heavy start here, but we're going to try to redirect as we go.
Yeah.
Caitlin and I have been talking a little bit about some of the conflict in society, and decided we didn't want to stay completely silent, but also not be super detailed, but try to figure out a way to reel ourselves back in.
Right.
And kind of take a step back and just try to behave more appropriately sometimes with these complicated issues.
Right. So the idea was, how do we love well and live faithfully in a society that's full of conflict? And obviously it's been a heavy month, like 2026. We're only a month in. It feels like it's been very long, and lots of things that we hear in the news that are just really disheartening in our country, specifically. And we wanted to address it, and admitting that we're talking to ourselves here, and we're learning as we go, figuring out how to do this well. We're not experts in this, obviously.
No, as we were trying to warm up for this, we both got a little hot under the collar. Just like, good thing we got that out quick.
Right. Because we know these are really complicated issues, and we want, you want to say the right things in the right way, to be helpful and not just add to the noise. So as your fellow travelers on the path of life, we're trying to figure out some simple steps to take.
Yes, we are, because we are prone to that ourselves. Caitlin and I have pretty similar beliefs, but we're a little bit different politically. But I think it's safe to say that wherever you align yourself, if you want to call them sides, I think they are sides. I don't think it has to be. But I've been frustrated because it's just the same playbook, no matter what. We're not viewing people that have different ideas than us as humans. We're viewing them as adversaries. And there are a lot of differences in policies and a lot of differences in beliefs. But ultimately, in a conflict, is it possible that you're completely right and the person that thinks differently than you is completely wrong? Or do we both own a responsibility in that?
Mhm.
And I would say, um, to maintain relationships, we probably should take ownership of our responsibility to maintain those relationships that we think differently than.
Mhm.
It's not healthy. It's not good for your spirit. Um, and it's really, I think most people truly do care. They just think that we should go about it in a different way.
Mhm.
Um, but I know it starts with me
Right.
when it comes to how I interact with people, and I've failed at that very recently. Um,
Same here. We were talking about some things before we started recording. Like, we have both failed at this and we want to do better.
yep,
It takes a lot of humility, I think, to look at ourselves and think, um, I could be wrong in these areas. I'm not always right, and the other person isn't always wrong.
right.
Um, yeah, it just takes some humility to admit that we are all fallible humans here.
Mhm. Yeah, I told Caitlin earlier that I know that I have to look inward. Uh, I've got to possess some self awareness, and I have to try to hold myself more accountable than what I expect of others. And I think,
Mhm.
again, to say that is one thing, to do it is another. Um,
Right.
but that's what my heart has been thinking lately is, if I'm not going to be able to do this well, you will find yourself at odds with people, whether in your mind or in actual conversation and interactions.
Mhm.
And really, when I choose to be gracious and generous um, toward others, um, I tend to be happier.
Mhm.
When you have that peace that, it's okay to have disagreements. I've talked with my son about this a lot because he's 17 years old. And I feel like for him to disagree, he thinks it's wrong. If
Mhm.
he's not skilled at conflict, and how could you be when you're 17? But I'm like, it's
Right.
okay for you to have your own thoughts and try to make sense of the world. Like, you
Yeah.
don't need to apologize for that. Like, how you go about it is what matters. And he
Right.
does that in a respectful way. But it's just funny to me because nobody really enjoys conflict. Everybody says, "Oh,
No.
I just don't like conflict." Well, you shouldn't like conflict, but you shouldn't run away from it
I
either.
mean, I have met people who tend to like conflict,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and those
Yeah.
aren't people I really care to be around.
No, 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 not at all. But it
Um,
does it does just feel better to be at peace with others,
yeah.
as much as you can be. That's not always possible, and there may be
Mhm.
times that you have to, protect your flock or whatever it is, but,
Mhm.
most people aren't in a life and death situation every day. Some people find themselves there, and you have to behave accordingly then too,
Mhm.
but, this isn't what we're talking about. These are ideas.
Right. Okay. So, again, like these, to say these are simple doesn't mean they're easy to implement. However, if we are claiming the name of Christ, then our first allegiance has to be to Christ. It cannot be to a person or a party or even policies. Like, we have to look at everything through the lens of Jesus.
Right. I also like the Matthew McConaughey approach to politics.
Hmm.
I think it was in his book Green Light, where he said, the way that he tries to approach politics is I don't have an attitude of condemnation towards the person I'm disagreeing with, and I'm not seeking to try to convert them to my beliefs.
Hmm.
Um, he talks about building a bridge and having that moment where you go, "Me too. I think that too," and
Right.
then
Finding your
and
common ground.
and then
Yeah.
build from there. I really like that. So,
I really like the Ted Lasso approach, where he's like approach with curiosity and not judgment,
mhm.
which also is difficult to do.
Yeah, yeah, that was a oddly inspirational show in
I
places.
know.
I did not expect that. I thought it was gonna be a silly, goofy
R
soccer comedy.
right, and then you just get, hit in the face with some
Mhm.
really good interpersonal, um, understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. It's his optimism was admirable.
Yeah.
So you were talking about allegiance to Christ, and we were trying to figure out, how do we do that?
Mhm,
Um, so we thought, well, we probably should seek guidance and truth from what we know about how Jesus himself behaved
mhm,
and how he set the example to treat others.
right.
And I like in James 1, verse 19, um, he says, "Dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry."
Mhm,
Um, I just think that taking a pause sometimes and not just blurting out whatever it is you have to say, there is some real wisdom there.
mhm,
Uh, Again, easier said than done, but
right,
a pause every now and then is probably not a bad thing.
right. Agreed. It's interesting you were saying that. I talked to maybe it was a couple weeks ago about Jesus going into the temple, cleansing the temple. And I think perhaps we might think that Jesus was out of control in his anger. He was not. I was reading something the other day about that. And, he braided a whip to take in to the
Mhm.
temple. And I was reading how long that took, anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of days. So that time that he was taking to make this thing, he was, I mean, I'm sure praying to the Father and uh, just really intentionally not bursting in a fit of anger. It was planned, and he did it in the way that he wanted to.
He had a purposeful cool down period.
Yeah, which I think we can take a lot wisdom from that, because there are issues, of justice or truth that mean a lot to us personally. And we don't have to go in with guns blazing um, to make our point about it.
Mhm,
We can care deeply about it and voice that without it being um, inflammatory, I guess.
mhm. Yeah, and we talked too about, look at who Jesus spent his time with. Who did he
Mhm.
hang out with? Who was it that he was, ministering to? It wasn't the politicians and the influencers of the time.
Right.
You're talking about the poor and the marginalized and
Mhm.
sinners and outcasts and I'm not going to say undesirables, but in that time, a lot of people were, kind of considered, well, even women and children,
Right.
he spent a lot of time with women and children and the sick and the disabled.
Everyone
Um,
that society looked down on as less than, he's like, "Those are my people.
yep,
That's who
yep.
I am, going to show, like, a special tender care towards." And I think we really need to think about that, as we go about our lives. Um, his harshest words were for those who were in power, because
Mhm.
it was so easy for them to become corrupt and abuse those who were more vulnerable.
That sounds familiar.
Right?
Well, and I think the people that he did focus on, I can't remember where I read this, but I thought it was nice to kind of capture it. It was people that were open to the need for repentance and
Yes.
knowing that they needed forgiveness. So
Mhm.
they possessed an attitude of humility,
Right.
um, which I think is really interesting to think about. Is um, that was the example he set? It was
Mhm.
people that were not in power. They didn't hold high positions in society.
Mhm.
Um, and then we talked about the verse Luke 4:18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set free those who are oppressed.
Mhm.
And I don't know that he was just talking about literally oppressed as much as our need for him in our
Mhm.
life. Um, but that's a whole other conversation.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that we just look through to the two greatest commandments that he gave us. Like, really, it all boils down to this, is what he says: love God and love your neighbor.
Mhm.
So, um, looking at people, seeing their humanity, um, it's not optional to not love other people. Like, those are the two greatest commandments. um, and, someone asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" And that's, I believe, when he gave the story of the Good Samaritan, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I saw a meme a while back, and it was like a picture of Jesus teaching, and someone says, "Who is my neighbor?" And he's saying, the meme says, um, "It's the person whose name you're hoping I don't say." Like, yes, even that guy, that's your neighbor, and you have to love him if you are going to claim to love God.
Yes, that is so true. Oh, boy.
Like, we understand, like, sometimes people are sometimes people are the worst.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to love your enemies. Or and really, are they your enemies? Or is that just the way we're viewing them and we need to change our perspective?
Mhm. Well, I think, I believe firmly that when you take a side in an issue, whether it be politics or whatever it is, um, I believe that there is an agenda behind that on both sides to manipulate you, uh, to put you at odds with your neighbor, and to distract you from bigger things.
Right? It's that
And
us versus them
Mhm.
narrative.
and focusing on divisions does not improve our relationships with
Mm-mm.
others. Um, so I think we need to try to understand one another. And it's probably pretty valuable to try to give people that space. Um, and it starts with us.
Mhm. Right. So I was thinking the other day about how Jesus has his 12 disciples, and he has Simon the Zealot and Matthew the tax collector. And those two would have been like warring political enemies in that culture. Simon the Zealots wanted to violently overthrow Rome,
Mhm.
and the tax collectors were Jews who, they're looking at them as like they've sold out to Rome and they're allying with the person in power who's against us. And I don't think it's an accident that Jesus had those two people as his disciples. And as there's nothing recorded that where he says like, "Yeah, you're right and you're wrong" to one of
Mhm.
them.
Right.
Um, he does call them to a higher kingdom. Like, I am not here to overthrow Rome. Like,
That's a
I
good thought. I like
it
that.
but he did make them live in harmony with each other because 'cause they're both
Mhm.
disciples following him. Like, they traveled together, they ate together, they slept, in the same I'm sure on the same around the same campfire, or in
I
someone's
bet if
home.
there was a seating chart at the dinner table, Jesus made them sit together just to mess with them.
That's funny you say that because that just reminded me of, when one of my kids was in, first or second I think it was first grade. Um, there's a boy that they just didn't get along together. And I was at parent teacher conferences and I kind of asked the teacher, like how she was approaching that. She's like, "Oh, I'm making them sit next to one another and do projects together. Like, I'm going to make them work through this." You're brilliant.
That's really good. How'd
um,
that work out?
I mean, it was fine. There was no bloodshed
Yeah,
that I know
well,
of.
that's good. Oh,
I mean,
man.
I don't know that they were ever the best of friends, but they learned to get along well enough anyway.
So
Um,
you had put something in the show notes about being shrewd and discerning, and
yes.
we had picked, the same verse, but I want you to read Matthew 10:16, and then I'll read mine.
Okay.
Um
Let me find it here real quick because I have closed out of there.
Oh, I can do it.
Okay, you go
Um,
ahead with yours.
so, "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, so be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves." What does that verse mean to you?
Um, I just think we need to, um, consider what we're listening to, reading, um, to be discerning of our sources and what we're consuming, um, filter that all through, you know, how would Jesus respond to this? Um, and keeping ourselves like the innocent as doves, I think, keeping our own hands clean and not
Mhm.
making things worse. I don't know. What do you think about it?
No, I agree. I think it's an interesting thought because it doesn't say that there's not going to be danger out there. I mean,
Right.
when you look at the idea of sheep versus wolves,
Mhm.
that does seem to be a pretty vulnerable position. But how do you overcome that? Um, to be shrewd as a serpent, um, it means you got to be on your toes. It probably means you need to be studying. Probably
Mhm.
need to be practicing. Like Chris was talking about you know, in anything you need to be training. If you're going to run a race, you run every day. If you're going to
Mhm.
lift weights, you you got to go get in the gym. Um, if you want to be stronger spiritually, you got to spend time training. Um, but I also liked. I found another verse that I just thought was kind of funny on this. It's
Okay.
Proverbs 18:13, and I don't usually read the Message version very often, but I thought
Mhm.
this one was hilarious because it says, "Answering before listening is both stupid and rude." I
Well,
was like,
accurate.
"Yeah." I think the other translations call it folly and shame, but I thought stupid and rude
Stupid
was
and
better.
rude is like, that's the version that's like plain
Mhm.
spoken.
Yeah.
That's funny because we're constantly trying to teach our kids the right way to behave. And my son, popped off something the other day. And I said, okay, before you speak, you need to ask yourself, is it true? And if it is it helpful? Because like things can be true, but you still don't need to say them if they are not going to be helpful to anybody.
Yeah.
Like that's just inflicting like an unnecessary pain. So if you're going to speak something that's true, it also needs to be helpful.
Yeah, I can see him doing that. He's
It's an ongoing problem and
yeah.
process that we have.
I don't envy you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he's finding his way. He wants to be an entertainer, it seems like.
Yes, and we also were like, you can be funny without being mean to someone. So we're also looking to find that line. It's like, I
Mhm.
know you're trying to make people laugh. You cannot do it in a way that's going to hurt somebody else.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's off topic, but not really. Kind of
No, it
similar.
fits. It's real life. So you had
All right.
brought up Romans chapter 12. I just wrote down a few takeaways because it's a fairly long chapter. I know we don't want to read the whole thing,
Yeah.
but I was going to let you kind of take it from what you were thinking, and I was just
Is
going to say a couple things that I
okay.
related to.
Yeah. I think what I was thinking, I've seen many people quote Romans 13 in the last week about submitting to the governing authorities. And
Mhm.
so I was looking at it and I thought I went back one chapter and I thought, it's interesting that everyone wants to quote that. But right before that is this whole passage of love in action, is how my Bible titles that section, and loving my neighbor. Um, it's a really important passage that I think we all need to read and refresh ourselves about. Um, and what thoughts did you have about that?
Well, I thought it was good because that's where it talks about blessing those that persecute you.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I think that's probably one of the most difficult things to do because I don't think any of us have truly experienced persecution. But I
Mhm.
think we can understand being wronged by another person. We've wronged
Right.
others ourselves. Um, but we are called to do that. And it on it doesn't come natural to us. It seems
Mhm.
so crazy and outlandish. Um, which is probably why it's important.
Mhm.
Um, if it was easy, we probably wouldn't have to be told to do it.
Right. Yeah, it is not natural. Yeah, the things that I was reading there, honor other people above yourselves, um, rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn, live in harmony, do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position.
Mhm.
All these things about loving your neighbor and loving your enemies also. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone.
Yes, I had that one too. Um, I thought of a dad-ism out of there
Mhm.
because he used to always say, "A man ought not think too highly of oneself." Do you remember him saying that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
do.
And then I thought of another good one that's not in Romans chapter 12, but I remember hearing him say, "Don't advertise your ignorance so loudly." And I'm like, that kind of fits, so I'm gonna work it in.
Right. Oh, that's good. Mm,
He had some good ones.
he did.
But I
Uh,
think the last takeaway from there, do not be overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. So,
yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say, like, that
yep.
really kinda wraps it all up. This might be a topic we come back to at some point. I mean, there's no shortage of, terrible news and pain in
Mhm.
the world. So it is going to be a process to
Yes.
travel through.
So, with that said, um, we decided we were going to try to go back to some simple things that we can hopefully all relate to.
Yeah, we're switching gears here now. We're gonna launch into a, new series that we, are gonna cover about the wisdom of nature.
Mhm. So we were thinking, what can we learn from God's creation? Because, when we're looking around and we're focusing on conflict in the world and everything else, for me, every time I get back out to nature, uh, put my phone down, get away from the noise,
Mhm,
um, take in the beauty, the quiet, the wildlife, whatever
mhm.
it is. Um, it really does minister to me. And I think, I think a lot of people relate to that. Um, Caitlin had said, sometimes when humans suck, maybe we can learn something from other creatures. I was like, yeah,
Hey,
we
you
could.
know, sometimes, I mean, it's difficult, but I feel the same way if I can get outside and observe the world around me. It does do something, inside that just calms and quiets, and, Clint and I were talking about this the last couple nights, um, looking for ways that God's left his fingerprints on the world around us,
Mhm.
and I thought, that's perfect wording, that's exactly what it
Yep.
is.
Very, very well said by husband, brother of the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I've always realized, especially as I've gotten older, there really is a beauty in simplicity.
Mhm,
Um, we can really complicate our lives, but really, when it boils down to it, the things that I appreciate the most are usually the most simple. Time with people that I love, and um, conversation, um, healthy disagreement, even.
mhm.
Um, but we decided to start with the cardinal,
Yes, we
the
did.
the red bird. Um, we became accidental ornithologists this week.
Yeah, I think my phone was listening to me because Threads has started serving up bird content, which I have not, like, searched for on there, but bird things keep coming up in my feed because I keep talking about birds.
So the accidental ornithologist, that's from a comedian. His name's Ben Bailey, and he's a wordsmith, wouldn't you say?
I love that clip, and I actually, like, checked into, like, if we could play part of it, and I think that would violate,
Mhm.
copyright, so we can't play it, but go look it up on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Well, he's talking about how birds are named and categorized based on their ability to fly.
Mhm.
And there is a category of birds called nearly flightless. And his take was they almost can't fly.
Oh, man. What birds are in that category? Do you know?
I don't know. Was it ostriches or
Oh, no,
maybe
because
I
they
can't.
can't fly at all.
Maybe it was
I
the
don't know.
dodo. Maybe it was the dodo bird. I can't remember.
I mean, I don't have chickens right now, but I usually have chickens, and they really try to fly if they get scared, and they can get off the ground a little bit, but they come down pretty quick.
Hmm.
So maybe it's them.
Nearly flightless.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do we love cardinals, Kate?
Oh, there's so many reasons. I'm settling into middle age very well because last year I asked for a bird feeder for Christmas and I got it
Yeah, you were
from
excited.
I was. And my mission, like all last winter, was try to attract a cardinal to my bird feeder. I was unsuccessful, but I really just wanted to see like a beautiful red plumage against the snow.
Hmm.
I think I don't have enough shrubbery, but still gonna work on it.
Yep, yep.
But
So
they're
I
just
was.
majestic, you know? They're
They are.
beautiful.
So I was totally ignorant to like the imagery and folklore that was
Mhm,
associated with cardinals until several years back. I had a coworker who, unfortunately, she had lost one of her parents, and somebody brought by this little glass cardinal figurine for her, and I just thought, oh, that was nice. I didn't really think that much of it.
mhm.
One of the people at work is like, do you know the significance of that? And I'm like, I have no idea. And so anyway, the folklore is that cardinals appear when angels are near,
Mhm,
meaning they can signify a loved one that has passed on coming
mhm,
back to say hello. And after I learned that, I just had some experiences with cardinals that were kind of unmistakable. And
mhm.
for somebody else to see that or to hear that, I don't know how meaningful it would be, but I'll probably tell that story later.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, once I learned about that, I felt like I started seeing cardinals everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's just a bright reminder of, some hope, um, that our loved ones are gone, they're not forgotten, they're always with us.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, and there we did find some things about kind of the family structure, I guess you would say, and
Yeah.
things about cardinals that we can relate to and that we can understand. Um, they're songbirds.
Mhm.
How many different tunes did you say they could sing?
28 different phrases.
Okay.
Um, and the males and females sing, like, in some species, it's not both male and female, but cardinals, everybody sings.
Hmm. Um, oh yeah, they're singing melodies.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
our
they are.
mom's name is Melody, by the way.
Yep.
So singing melodies.
Yes, they are.
But the thing that I liked, I saw an example of loving service to the family
Mhm,
um, from the dad cardinal.
mhm.
He actually helps build the nest. He'll help incubate eggs. Uh, he provides food. Um, and if the female is on the nest, he'll actually bring food to her and essentially kiss her. I mean, he'll
Yeah.
place it in her mouth like real gently, like a kiss, which I thought was kind of sweet. Um, but they are also very territorial, very much protectors.
Mhm.
So much so that they'll even attack their own reflection in a window or mirror. Um, so I do
Well,
admire that. They're
you saying
simple
they have an
creatures.
itchy trigger finger?
Itchy trigger, yes. But
Oh, man. Yeah, I did see that they were territorial, but also I thought it was neat. They are non-migratory, which means when things get cold and dark, they don't
mhm,
abandon ship, they stay,
no,
which I like. How many analogies can we draw from that?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Um, some of the readings that I did said that they were monogamous mates. Um, I think there's maybe some
Yeah, what I
uncertainty
said
about that.
was they usually are, sometimes they're not. I mean, sometimes they've got irreconcilable differences or something. But sometimes they switch, but usually they are monogamous.
Usually they have domestic harmony.
Yeah.
But the one story that I wanted to tell about cardinals was my wife. We had both been married before, and we found each other later in life. And it was really interesting because within a day or two of me talking to her about having this realization of what the significance of cardinals were, we were up at her mom's house and we were out by the barn, and we had been talking about getting married, and we were talking about our parents because her father had passed away, and of course both mom and dad had passed by then. And we were just sitting there talking about how fortunate that we felt to have had the parents that we did despite losing them much too soon. And we were talking about how much our parents would have really enjoyed getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And we were out there feeding the horses, and I just looked up and I saw a barn, or up on the barn, I saw a cardinal up there. I was like, oh, look at that. And so I kind of nodded up. Well, as we're doing that, two more fly up
Mm-hmm.
within 20, 30 feet of us and land on the fence on the other side. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, do you see what I see?
There were
And
three of them.
three
Yep.
cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, hello there, Jack. Hello, Bill. Hello, Melody. And I don't know, for us, it just felt like a marker in our relationship because
Mm-hmm.
the timing was just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really encouraging. And it was a moment that was full of a lot of different types of emotions. We were sad, but we were also really grateful, talking about,
Mm-hmm.
feeling like we would have their blessing.
Yeah.
And the timing was just incredible. I'm like, this is,
Mm-hmm.
for me, there's no doubt.
Right. We've talked before about we feel like we're not going to put parameters on how God can speak to us. And yeah, when you see something like that, feel like it is a little bit of a nod from the divine and
Mhm.
from the people that we've lost along the way of we're still here and yeah, we love you and yeah, we're with you.
Yep. Yep. What else on
That's a great
cardinals?
story. Let's see. I don't know if I had I don't know if I have any more good bird content to add.
They are intimidating looking. Like,
They're
I mean,
fierce.
they are. I mean, they even had
Fierce yet tender, with
they had a game named after them, Angry Birds. I mean, most of the that was so fun. Yeah,
Yeah, I
big fat red cardinal. You could knock down some
against
buildings with that.
what, the pigs or something?
Yes.
Um,
So, Kate, what are the takeaways that we feel like we've gotten um, from I guess from cardinals, but also from focusing our eyes on living more like Christ?
right. Um, well, I was thinking about some of the symbolism, and one of the things I saw that, cardinals represented was the blood of Christ and
Mhm.
resilience,
Yes.
and, I think those are 2 things that we can apply to ourselves, uh, these cardinals, they are fierce, but they're tender.
Mhm.
Um, they find reason to sing even when the environment is harsh.
Yep.
And I'm gonna cry over birds now, so thanks a lot.
That's okay. It was your
You
turn.
you go now.
It was your turn. Um, God, we never make it through an
I
episode without
know, I was
crying,
like,
do
"We're
we?
talking about birds, I'm not gonna cry." Okay, anyway.
Well, this is why we did it because um, we can get some, we can glean some knowledge from simplifying things.
Mhm,
I think what I kind of just really liked about the birds was the teamwork, the cooperation. Um, that I'm maybe taking more liberty here than I should, but I feel like the act of service that you see from from the dad cardinal and them all working together, and
mhm,
it's sort of like let's just focus on working together as a unit as much as we can. And again, it starts with me
Mhm.
serving my family, serving
Right.
my community, serving in my workplace, whatever it is. Just be good to each other. Be good
Right.
to your neighbor.
Mhm.
Um, I think we can be respectful to others and not give up on our convictions.
Mhm.
I think we can give grace without surrendering ground.
Mhm.
Um, I think we can be firm but not rigid.
Mhm.
We can be flexible but not soft,
Yep.
and just be generous with the grace that you give.
Mhm.
And I think you said it earlier, but empathy is not optional. It's commanded.
Right. Right.
And
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 if
we will fail doing that
yes,
a lot
and
of days.
having the humility to say I was wrong in the way that I said that or the
Mhm,
way that I acted, being humble enough to ask for forgiveness when we do fail because that's going to happen. Um, but yeah, we have to if we're going to claim the name of Christ, then we have to be loving.
mhm. Well, it's been said before, but, I think sometimes people say, why is Christianity so off-putting? Because of
Mhm.
Christians like me sometimes.
Right. Right. But it is worth noting that what should make us different is not just the ability to love the people who are like us, but to love the people who we may view as an enemy or someone who's not like me. Um, I did. There was a quote that I had read to you before we started.
Oh, yes, I'm glad you
Um,
remembered this.
so the quote that I had seen earlier, I think it was a couple days ago, it was, James Tallarico, who's, he's a politician from Texas, but he said, "The test of Christianity is not do you love Jesus, because Jesus is pretty lovable. The test is do you love Judas?" I think that's the key to this whole American experiment. How do you love your enemies? And, I just thought that was really good food for thought, like, this is a person who I don't agree with on everything, but that is a challenge to us to love the people with whom we disagree because we are going to be in conflict with
Mhm.
others, and how do we approach that? We approach that, combatively, or are we going to show them grace and love and, try to do it in the spirit of Christ?
And you also had a good one. I don't remember who said it, but I'll probably butcher it, but you said, "You've never looked into the eyes of another human that Jesus did not die for."
Yes. Yeah.
That's, uh
It's
that's
sobering
power
thought. Yeah,
power.
sobering thought for sure. Um, yeah, I don't think we can say anything better than that.
Nope. Well, we're coming up on our, accidentally spiritual for the week. Would you like
Yeah,
to go first?
sure. Um, so this is I have 2 and a little bit of a silly one, was this morning, it has been a really heavy week, um, and this morning I was getting, breakfast for my youngest, all the big kids were already at school. And she did not know what she wanted. Everything I suggested was a no, and I was finally like, "I know what I'm gonna do." So, I got her some yogurt and we put sprinkles on it.
Oh.
And it was like, "We are going to find some kind of joy this morning, even if it's something as simple as putting sprinkles on the yogurt." Like, it's finding the joy wherever we can. I think we have to do that even if it's something really small.
And it worked, I'm guessing.
It did. She was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll eat yogurt now." Like, she had said no to yogurt earlier. So, also, mom hack, so feel
Yeah.
free to take that and run with it, put sprinkles on everything. Of course, I came back later, and she had gotten herself a popsicle out, and she had a plate full of sprinkles, and she was dipping the popsicle, and I was like,
Ah.
"What are you doing?"
Mhm.
Um,
She took
I was like,
that
"You"
green light and ran with it,
yeah, I
didn't
was
she?
like, "You don't have permission to have that right." Um,
Oh, yeah, got a birthday coming up for her next week too, don't we?
yeah, I do. Um, yeah, I'm, not prepared. I need to get on that. Um,
And just have some sprinkles, you'll be fine.
yeah, there you go. Second one was, the song "Pollyanna" by Green Day. I sent it to you earlier,
Mhm.
and, it's Green Day. I was like, I can't tell if they're being sarcastic or sincere, um, but I do love that song.
I don't think I had heard that song before.
It's from 2021.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Anyway, they're talking about how it's wonderful to be alive. Don't let them get you down. Don't let them push you around. Anyway, that song, they are saying like everything's going to be all right. And the kind of the chorus part is share your bread with friends you don't know, hold the truth and never let go. Don't give up and go with what you know's for real.
Mhm.
And it's
I
like
like it.
this are, we can take something from that. And what do we know is real? It's, the people we're around that we love, our families, our friends, uh, and sharing with our neighbors. Like, I can take that Green Day and run with it.
I think so. Even if they were being sarcastic, still some words to live by. You had said something about, um, the dinner table before we came on. What was that?
Oh, well, I was trying to find it. I think I forgot to save it, but I was looking at an infographic um, yesterday, and it was showing the percentage of interactions that Jesus had with other people during his ministry. And, the categories were like speaking to crowds, um, talking to the Pharisees, healing people. The biggest percentage, though, was meals around a table
Mhm.
and in people's homes. And I thought that is, um, we could take a lot of things from that. These most important conversations we have probably should be in our homes, inviting people in that we're and developing those relationships with them.
I can get on board with that, especially if there's a fire. You get fire and food and conversation. Sign
It's a
me up.
winning combination every time.
Okay.
So, what did you have for accidentally spiritual?
So I switched because I was talking to our other sister Teresa this morning,
Mhm.
checking in to see how she had survived the storm,
Yeah.
and I was telling her about this episode and kind of just if she had any thoughts about cardinals, and she said no, not specifically, but she said I do know that there's a healing quality when spending time in nature. I always enjoyed going for walks in the woods. But I do remember when I was little, traipsing behind Dad through the brush and timber, and I would step everywhere he did because I knew I would be safe if I followed his steps.
Mm,
And I thought, man, that's a really great image of how we can find safety literally and figuratively.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but it reminded me of one of Dad's favorite verses, Psalm 91:4. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you may seek refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and bulwark.
Yeah.
He
That's
loved
a
that
good,
version.
yeah.
Actually, he liked
That
Rampart too,
translation.
didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we would look it up in several different versions, but he liked bulwark, but there's some
Mhm.
several different words you can
So,
put there that sound good. Yeah.
good job, sis. I thought she nailed
Yeah.
it.
Almost brought on the waterworks again.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, mm, that's good stuff. That'll preach.
Yep. I was afraid of the dark when I was younger, and I
Mhm.
remember going with Dad to his workplace a lot, and it would be dark, and I would stay right on his hip because I did not
Mhm.
wanna be in the dark by myself.
Yep.
And I just think that's another image of, like, it's not just your earthly father,
Mhm.
but I can sure relate better because of that. So I
Right.
thought that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Good way to bring it back.
Yeah,
So
good reminder that we're not alone and we're not going to walk anywhere that Jesus hasn't already walked first. Like none of
mhm.
this is news to him.
Yep.
He's been through all the same trials.
Yep.
Different society, but same struggles.
Absolutely. Well, Kate, I enjoyed it. I think we set out to at least attempt. What'd you say? We have concepts of a plan.
Yeah. Concepts of yeah, we're yeah, trying to use our voice for good and, hope that everyone has, grace for us because we are imperfect
Yep.
and, not afraid to admit it.
No. Thank you to everybody that has listened, and reached out with words of encouragement and,
Mhm.
just really appreciate it. And I hope that, our desire to try to make some sense of this comes through because it was a difficult planning week for us trying
Okay.
to link these things together. So
Mhm.
we appreciate your patience with us as we continue to try to figure this out.
Yep. And, we are gonna continue on the theme, there'll be a couple more episodes probably about nature here and there, so, yeah, come back next week and, we'll
Sounds
talk
good.
about something else.
All right. Well, I enjoyed it, sis. I love you.
I love you too, bub.
All right. Take care of each other.
Alright, bye.
All right. Bye.